Design thinking. Have you heard this term design thinking before? I'm sure you must have. After all, it is the buzzword these days. And you might have wondered what design thinking is. Is it a designerly way of thinking? In one way, yes, you have guessed it correct. It is a thinking process that designers use to arrive to the solution for whatever problem situation that they are working at. And I'm very sure that you all are very curious to know more about it. And what could be the best way to learn more about it than to listen to the experiences and stories from design thinking practitioners themselves? So let's meet design thinkers in this series of Creatively Alive with Roopali Pankaj.
And great to know about it. So now having using this kind of, I feel even what you are doing in your agile uh, methodology is quite similar, as you said, like in prototyping, testing, and feedback. But then, as you said, that design thinking is something which got you the perspective that for whom are we doing this, and if it is not usable or not effective for them, then what's the point of having so many efforts, so much of expenses incurred into the whole process of developing whatever we are solutions which are not useful for them. So it's the basic design thinking uh, makes us, or it enables us to think about that why we are doing something. And then talking about that, I feel that this is something that, it's not applicable only for professional projects, but very much applicable in other areas of our life as well. And because in anything that we are doing, if why we are doing that is very clear to us, the way we do that, how of that process becomes so different if we understand why we are doing that
Why
and
we are
what
doing
what,
it. Yes,
what
absolutely.
right. So from you, I would like to know that what is it, that how this particular, like, design thinking, knowing that, learning that, and being implementing in it few ways, has helped you to have a different perspective towards other things in life, in other
Yeah,
contexts. Yeah.
yeah, other context. Yes, yes, absolutely. So I can relate with one example immediately as yeah, means when we were having this workshop itself, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
so,
mm-hmm,
not only for the software, I would say, but like okay,
mm-hmm,
we were having some UI UX expert also, and when we were discussing that, like he shared a kind of a good insight.
mm-hmm,
So why do we have these mirrors in the lift?
mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously means like it's not a kind of a software thing. Putting a mirror is there is no software involved. So where is
Right.
that kind of a design thinking process came into it?
Mm-hmm,
So when we actually understood, he gave a good perspective.
mm-hmm.
So okay, so even if obviously it's an embedded device after all, that lift is an escalator, that is also an embedded thing. Like there has to be programmed something for that
Right,
particular hardware, and it
right,
actually works.
right,
So we have those UI, that's kind of a user interfaces in the lift. Like okay, we have to press some buttons to choose the
hmm,
floor which we want to go to.
right.
Then we have the fan or light, like these kind of
Other
like buttons.
things.
There are some user interfaces,
Hmm,
and
hmm,
but where is the UX coming into picture?
hmm,
Okay, yeah,
hmm.
like so that if some lifts are having the closed door, or some
Right.
lifts are having kind of the grill doors, or like
Yes.
absolutely closed, like so no ventilation. Sometimes the user feels that I'm suffocated because
Located.
I'm actually traveling into the closed thing.
Right,
But at the
right,
same time, like there are some users which feels no, the privacy is super important. I want to actually have like nothing
yeah.
should be visible outside. So
Right.
that's where
Totally
the
right.
user research and user feedback comes into the picture while designing the
Exactly.
lift. Okay, there
Exactly.
can be some things which is a kind of an off-the-shelf product and it is as is, but you have to customize. You have to ready to be customized, and
Hmm,
that's
hmm,
where like he shared that like okay, the keeping the mirror is
hmm,
actually giving you a kind of a you are getting distracted a bit for traveling say 10 or 20 floors nowadays into the
Right.
lift, and
Right.
if there is some mirror, then yeah, your time gets passed kind
You
of
know.
quickly and you will not
Right.
notice.
You.
So having this simple thing is an
Hmm.
outcome of the design thinking thought process.
Right.
That's what
Right.
actually I would feel that like, okay, by
Yes.
doing this all this design thinking 5D process, then we
Yes.
realize, and this is the outcome where all these different things can be put, and it
Exactly.
definitely like helps to create the out of box thinking, I would say, or creative thinking. That
Right.
like, okay, otherwise
Right.
in it's a normal kind of a world, you would not have imagined that, okay, what's the big deal, what's why the mirror
Right.
is and all this is
Right.
an outcome of this thought process.
Yes. 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 Definitely.
And
Definitely.
I can
And
also relate
yes.
another example for the
Mm-hmm.
like choosing a gift to the children. Or
Mm-hmm.
I can say that like, okay, when we visit to kind of a gift shop to
Mm-hmm.
purchase something gift for the children,
Right.
the salesman there also kind of a ask some questions to us, like whether it's a
Yes.
boy or a girl, what is
Right.
the liking, and
Yes.
then like what is the age group, and then he
Correct.
decides to show kind of a
Which.
particular gift. Yeah.
Correct.
And
Correct. Correct. There
if
are so
we
many.
have done our study already, then we know
Hmm.
that like what is the liking,
Hmm.
then it would give a kind of a better yield and like, okay, bring a good smile on the child from to
Exactly.
which we are
Yes.
gifting. And this
Yes.
is
Yes.
also kind of this is a process, I would say. It's
Yes.
not limited only to the any software world or anything. It can be applied into any
Exactly.
other context as well. That's what
Nice.
I frankly feel.
Yes, yes, yes. Abhijit, so beautiful examples. Both the examples that you mentioned here are from our day-to-day lives, and the way you talked about it for the lift, the way the experience gets changed just because having that particular mirror in the view that we don't feel what it is. And as you rightly mentioned, that it's nothing to do with the software or the hardware, but we would say a different type of creative thinking, like thinking about the user and how to make the experience better for the user. So it's not only there is a myth about creative thinking, I feel, is that it is something that it is an innate ability that few people have and few people don't have. But I personally, being in this field for so many years, I believe that each one of us have that innate ability to think differently. It's just that probably we don't practice it. Second, we don't practice it as a whole process to get to capture that kind of an idea at the right solution and then implement it. That's why we don't see any effect of that. But
Yeah.
but if we use the whole process and make creative thinking part of that, definitely we can expect so many better experiences in our life. And that's what the life is about, having those experiences. Again, the second example that you talked about, that again, receiving a gift is such an pleasant experience for a child. But then even if I've seen children just opening that and getting disappointed with that with the kind of gift that they receive. It's because of abundance basically that they have. But even in that, if they can relate with that gift, they feel so much more
Exactly.
bonded with the from whom they've received it. And as you mentioned, that it doesn't take much time. It's just about thinking about it before, that what kind of gift the child will like, understanding the child, and then gifting him accordingly. So that's rightly said by you. It's all about the thought process, how you develop and design thinking is a thought process more than anything, a mindset that you develop, where you understand why you are doing whatever you are doing. So it could be in the case of the child who's receiving the gift, that we should think about the child. In case of lift, as you said, we need to think about the whole experience of using that lift. If it is in a five-star hotel, the context changes and the kind of experience the user will expect will change. If it is in a shopping mall, definitely it will be a different kind of an environment, and the users expectations will change. So even though the technology remains the same, the kind of the interface that we'll have remains the same, yet the experience could be so totally different. And just by that design thinking, approach we can think of those different type of experiences. Great. So as like thank you so much for having this wonderful discussion, Abhijit, and sharing those experiences. Last question I would like to ask you here is that what is your opinion on taking this methodology to young children? I've been working in this, and I've been interacting with children and receiving such a pleasant and nice feedback and response from them. So I would just like to know, because you are already aware about what design thinking is, which not many parents are aware. So what is your feedback on this, or what is your opinion on taking this to young children, how it can help them? We would love to
Yeah,
listen to that.
absolutely. Like I can like easily relate this like to the change of the like study methods nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, obviously, just like unfortunately due to the pandemic, but like everyone is actually switching to the online schooling, having those Zoom calls and like all these things. So the children are already used to this kind of an environment or kind of a new
Yes.
gadgets and new methods, right?
Right.
So
Right.
however, like when I relate to our schooling days, like okay,
Hmm.
like what was our methods, and like yeah, we have to always kind of go through this reading those books, sometimes mug up for the marks and all that things. Like
Right.
that was a standard practice that
Yes.
time. But
Yes.
now this technology is changing. There are some new kind of terminologies are coming up, like this
Right.
design thinking or these new methodologies or thought processes coming up,
Right.
or rather
Right.
those were it's always there, but
There.
like they were not exposed to us. That was I
Right.
would say that like okay, we were
Yes.
not aware that
Definitely.
like okay, this is what actually design thinking thought process is. And
Right.
like you rightly
Right.
said,
Yes.
interlinking all these five stages, that
Hmm.
actually gives a kind of a better output.
Right.
But then
Right.
if we have kind of like I said, like I have just studied or kind of understood this kind of a 4 years back, right? Like
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
having these thought process already learned by them or understood by them like at early stages would definitely yield some kind of a better creative products like from
Right.
them. I think
Right.
that is very
Right.
essential to introduce some things, like they are introducing the computers at very early stages in the schools. It
Right.
would be wise to kind of introduce such concepts like maybe design thinking and kind of not related here, but a time management or these kind of a two
Right.
things probably
Right.
we
Right.
should actually introduce to the children at very early stage. It
Early
will
stage.
be very much useful
Definitely.
useful
Yes.
for them.
Yes. 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 Yes.
That's what I feel that like okay, they will definitely make a good use of it, and kind of a creative like their out of box thinking can be developed
Right.
certainly like
Right.
using
Right.
this.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Because that's what even I am experiencing. As you said, time management. I feel that is also one of the key area that children learn in this whole process, because most of the activities that we take here when we are using the process, they're time bound activities, and then children are surprised to see that within that short time they actually came up with so many ideas, or they could actually do whatever they like, some product or whatever model that they are making, whatever mock-ups or prototypes that they're making. They themselves are wondered and so happy to know that within that short period of time they can do so much. And then they get motivated to not, misuse their time. Whatever their time they have, they can utilize it in better ways. So by doing things, they're learning so many things. So that's why I feel that instead of it making, as you rightly said, just by reading from books and then learning it, if they learn by doing things, that will always be beneficial. And that's what I am experiencing when I am conducting these workshops with children. So yes, thank you so much, Abhijit, for sharing your valuable time and sharing your thoughts. Though those were really wonderful, and though having spent so much of time in your technical background, whatever you said about design thinking and overall, like how all these um, practices or methodologies that we use are so much applicable in our other day-to-day lives as well, make so much sense for all our users. So thank you very much for joining, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rupali, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot. Pleasure
Thank you
is
so much.
mine.
If you think the information that I am sharing is helpful to you, then please like, share, and subscribe my channel because one thought can transform many lives. I'll see you next time. Bye.